Hi everybody, welcome back to our next drawing class. Today we've got a fun one. We're going to be drawing a dragon. He's going to be flying up in the sky, but when we use our paper today, we've got to fold a couple more squares. So same thing, we'll fold like before, straight up across. We'll give it a really good crease down here at the bottom, and then we're going to fold it up again. Perfect. And then we're going to fold it long ways. Give it a really good crease there. That way you can see when you're drawing. And again, one more crease. That way you have an itty bitty tiny folded paper. When you unfold, you're going to have 16 squares this time instead of just 4. How many squares do you have? 16. Okay, I'm going to hang our paper up here. This time we want to do it landscape, long ways, instead of doing it portrait, which is the up and down, how we've been doing it before. Okay. Don't forget, when I'm drawing, I'm going to be using a marker. There are some lines that I won't be able to erase. If you're using a pencil, you will be able to erase them back when we go and we finish it off, okay? So the first line that we're going to work on is going to be the frame of his body. So I'm going to start up here in the corner, right on this crease, and I'm just going to curve down, and then I'm going to give it a little hop up here, curve around, and I'm going to give it a tail down here at the bottom, okay? So I'm going to start up here with his neck, and I'm going to end at the bottom with his tail. So I'm going to start here at the crease. I'm moving slow, that way I can see where I'm going. Okay, I've got to flatten my paper. Keep going with my hook all the way down to this bottom corner. I'm going to go up just a tiny bit, almost to the tip of that fold right there. Can you draw your squiggly line? Good. Okay, so now I'm going to work on the bottom part, where I'm going to start here by the same line that I started with before, and I'm just going to curve around. Here I want to do a little bit wider of a curve so that I can give him a body, and then I'll come back and make it skinny again up to his tip of his tail. So I'm going to start here. I'm moving slow again, that way I can see where I'm going. I can stay close to my line. Give him a little bit of a wider body there. I'm going to get a little closer. As I get to the tip, and I'm just going to barely touch them right there at the bottom. So we're going to go back and we're going to add a tip to his tail. So go ahead and draw the bottom part of your body. Good. Okay, so like I said, we're going to add a cool triangle tail to his bottom. So right here, the tip of his tail, we're just going to draw a triangle right on top. Good. Now we're going to move on to his head. So we're going to give him a head here. It's got two parts, kind of like our dinosaur. So I'm going to start here at the neck, curve up, give him a little bit of a nose there. It's going to be flat, so we can add some teeth in there for some details. And then I'll start on the bottom. His mouth is going to be open just a little bit. Finish it off and connect it to his neck. Good. We're going to add a little ear. It's going to be like a pointy ear for his dragon head. So I'm just going to do the top part of a triangle in there. It's kind of small, I know. Then I'm going to add some horns on him. So the first horn is going to come below this line that I've already drawn for his head, and it's going to go up to the top. So I'll start here at the bottom on his face. I'm just going to draw a tiny little smile U, and then I'm going to draw the horn, make it pointy. Now that can be a line that you erase later if you're using a pencil. That way you don't see the connection between his head and his horn. And then this horn, I'm going to start on this line that I've already drawn, and I'm just going to make it so it looks like on the back side of his head because he's on the side view. So like a little triangle there. Now he needs an eye. So I'm going to give him a detailed eye. If you want, you could just give him a circle, big dot eye, which is fine. And he needs a little nostril hole so he can breathe. So I'm just going to add a little dot right there at the tip of his nose. Good. So that's most of our small details. Okay, our next step, we're going to add a belly, so the underside of his stomach. So I'm going to come here at the very corner, bottom of his ear, and I'm just going to draw a line across his body. Now I'm going to leave some spaces so I can go back and I can add his arms and his legs. Remember, I'm using a marker, so it's a little bit harder to erase. So I'm going to leave some space there. I'm going to move slow. And I'm going to stop about there. That way I can add his arm in just a minute. And then I'm going to give him a little belly here. Trace that line. Then again, I'm going to leave a little bit of a space. That way I can give him a leg. And I'm just going to finish off my line down here, getting skinnier and skinnier, closer to his tail. And that's going to be the underside of his belly. So now I'm going to go back in my spaces and I'm going to add the arm and the leg. So his leg is a little bit tricky. We're going to start here right on this fold in between these spaces that we left. And we're first going to start with like an upside down J. So I'm going to start right here. I'm going to hook around until I touch that line right there. Okay. And now I'm going to finish off the back side of his leg over here on the tip of my J. So when I start here, I'm just going to curve around and touch his body. And so now we're going to bring his leg around and out, and we're going to give him some toes at the bottom. So I'm going to bring it here. And same thing, I'm going to bring his front part of his leg in, and I'm going to give it a little bit of a hook there. Okay, so now we've kind of made a leg, and now he needs the claws part to make it the bottom of his foot. So I'm just going to add 1, 2, 3 little claws. That makes his toe. This might be another line that you go back and erase if you're using a pencil. So I'm going to move on to his arm. So his arm's going to go right here. So this one, again, I'm going to start with an upside down J in that space that I left. Make it upside down J or a hook. And then I'm going to curve it off and I'm going to give him an elbow. That way he's got an arm. So I'm going to curve up and out. Same thing, I'm just going to curve up and out. I got a little bit skinnier down there. That's what it's his wrist. And so now we're going to give him the claws part. So same thing, I'm going to draw 3 points. 1, 2, 3. That way he's got his hand claw now. Again, this might be another line that you go back and erase if you're using a pencil. That way you can't tell. And so then we're going to go across his tummy and we're going to add lines all the way down, starting right here at his ear. So we're just going to do some lines. You can space them out however far, however close you'd like. It's your dragon. Okay, almost there. Okay, now he's got his underside of his belly all the way down. The next thing we're going to work on is his wing, because he's up in the air, he's flying. So when I start his wing, I'm going to start right here kind of in the curve of his back. My first line is just going to be a tiny little curved line all the way up to the top here. So I'm going to start a little bit inside of my body. And I'm going to curve it up and stop. And then when I start the other side of his wing to close it off, I'm going to start at the tip. And I'm going to give this one a nice good curve. And I'm going to come down here close to his body. I don't want to touch his body, but I'm going to come nice and close. Kind of like a shark fin. Good. And so then on the bottom, I'm gonna add those little bumps. That way it kind of makes it look like the bottom of his wing is pointy. So I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4. And this last one is gonna be a long one that connects his wing back to his body. Now I went over the line again. This is gonna be another line that you might wanna erase if you're using a pencil. And then I'm just gonna give him some detail in his wing. So right here from the point, I'm gonna connect it up here to the tip. So I'm just gonna slowly draw my lines. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And there you've got your dragon. So the next thing we're gonna add is some clouds because he's up in the air and he's flying away already. So I'm gonna start up here. I'm gonna give it a little bit of cloud here. Mine's gonna go off the page. Yours doesn't have to if you don't want it to. There's my cloud there. Might even give it another cloud in the background. Get some double layered clouds. And then I'm gonna come over here. I've got a little bit of a blank space, so I'm gonna add another cloud. This one's also gonna go off the page, but yours doesn't have to. So I'm gonna start here at the bottom, give it a straight line. Whoops. And then mine went off the page. And there you go. There's your dragon drawing. Your next step is to color. You did a wonderful job today. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.